I'm Ken Rendell. I began as a collector in the field of manuscripts and rare books in 1959, and I became a dealer about a year later so that I could at least be the temporary owner of many things, not just what I could afford. Terry Bellinger's apartment at Columbia was very tiny, and it was made even smaller by his bookcases. And there was very little space between them. And we would all gather there after Grolier Club events to discuss all kinds of matters concerning the rare book world, manuscript world. My greatest fear always was that somebody would bump into a bookcase and most of us would get killed as his bookcases went down like dominoes on top of us. That group really led to the Book Arts Press. Which was Terry's program at Columbia. And I'm not sure what the first year that I did a lecture there was, but it was right at the beginning. And I would talk about manuscripts, not rare books. As I used to tell the class, I talked about the originals. The rare books come from the manuscripts. And I tried to encourage other people I knew to also do lectures there. And it was, I don't need to talk to a bunch of boring students. And I said, you will gain as much as you give because the students are not boring. They ask really good questions and it becomes a real discourse. And that I gained a lot myself from doing it. I didn't consider this a charitable thing at all. And I specifically remember a lecture that I did about facsimiles and how to tell the difference. And I had a group, and these came from other dealers as well as mainly from other dealers, because I was always interested in gathering them. And someone said to me, are you sure this Marie Antoinette letter is a facsimile? And I looked at it carefully and I said, it's not. It's a real letter of Marie Antoinette. So in a sense, I got very well paid for those early days. Before it became Rare Book School. But the main thing was that Terry really gathered around him, in a sense, the elite of the rare book world. They went on to Frank Matthewson, it was the Rare Book Librarian of Congress. Everyone went on to important roles. And then later the students basically went all over the country and ran special collections everywhere. But it was very much about preserving the importance, the interest, and expanding the interest in rare books and manuscripts, not just the initial attraction. My whole attitude about this field is that it is critical to preserving the humanities. And it's critical to illustrating the linkage between people. Far more unites people than divides them if you look at human history. And rare books and manuscripts are about human history. It's about the author and what they wrote. It's about the readers at the time. You're looking at a book that someone read and was influenced by. They took action. And you're influenced, and that really links you to the author, to the time period, and to the original owner of the book and the original readers of the book, which is why I think it's so critical today with what Michael Suarez is doing. We both have a great concern that there's a lack of excitement about the humanities, that it's become too academic, too theoretical. When in reality, this is the most fundamental history that you can have. Recently, I've endowed a lecture series at Charlottesville to bring in collectors who are excited. This is an exciting field. I've been doing this more than 60 years now. And I'm just as excited now as I was at the beginning. I bought something 6 months ago. I was enormously excited. I had a Zoom call, and Michael Suarez was part of it, to show everybody what I had bought. And it wasn't a great discovery. Somebody else knew that it was important, but I knew it was the only signed exact copy of the civil rights law. Signed by, Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act, and then he signed this copy for a New York senator. And the Speaker of the House and the Vice President all signed. I don't think they realized that they were doing this as a favor to the senator who had gotten the government printing office to print the exact copy of it. But I was there when all this happened. I knew about it, and then it disappeared, and then it came up for sale. This is 40 years later. And I was enormously excited. I mean, I couldn't have been more excited, and I wanted to share it with everybody. So I want to have collectors who are excited, and preferably people who are not collecting the standard mainstream things, but things that have more representative of society. And that's my interest is people. And so I would like to have, and I just had breakfast with someone who I will recommend for next year's speaker. The one other example I think of what books, rare books, can do for you. I was building a library for one of the richest people in the world, but it was being carefully done. It really mattered what this person was interested in. One of his favorite books was Gadsby. And he had said to me he'd never pay $1 for a dust jacket. He didn't care about dust jackets. So I showed him 3 copies of Gadsby. One copy had a perfect jacket. I think it was $65,000. One had one that was slight repairs that you couldn't see, was $45,000, and no dust jacket was $10,000. And I said to him, there are no illustrations inside. If you want to see how Fitzgerald thought Gadsby should be represented, you have to have the dust jacket, because that's the design that Fitzgerald approved. And he said, we're going to do dust jackets. And that's that communication. You know, you're seeing how somebody wanted their book presented. And in reading original books, you're really communing with the person who wrote it and the people who use it. I'm very concerned about the future of this whole field, which is why I'm very supportive of what Michael Suarez is doing. Because I think that the answers to so much in today's world, it's in the past, because the answers are in human history. And that's the answer to the future.